Here's what I need y'all to understand urgently. Capitalism, the United States government, and the police state are not things that can be reformed from the inside. If a house has a rotting foundation, you can do as many repairs as you want. But eventually, that shit's gonna collapse. So you can either stay in that house and wait for it to literally kill you, or you can gut that shit. Because while capitalism and the government and the police state cannot be reformed from the inside, they sure as fuck can be destroyed from the inside. So this is to all the people with influence, with power, with money, with capital, who work in high up positions, who have a lot of access to all of this shit. We are in a class war. And the thing about wars, famously, is that they have sides. As in, you are either with the working class who makes society run, or you're against the working class that makes society run. So this is me being kind and giving you the opportunity to choose. Make yourself known. Because if you are still so hell-bent on keeping your capital and your privilege when a literal class war is happening, bro, when it's all said and done, guess what you're getting? Because truly the only reason why you should want to be rich right now is so that you can support your community when the general strike comes. The only reason why you should have multiple properties right now is if those properties are going to be used as organizing hubs or to provide housing to people who don't have it for free. And if you have a massive gun and artillery collection and you are not actively training the people around you for what's to come, then what the fuck are you doing, bro? Basically what I'm saying is there is no better way to destroy capitalism than to use the gains that capitalism has afforded you. We really don't need to start from scratch here. Basically, it's just about time that the people with power in society start using their power for good, because this shit, no. So y'all go ahead and tag your faves. Tag your faves in these comments, because, you know, ultimately your fave is rich. Your fave is a capitalist. Your fave is probably a class trader. So give them this opportunity to atone. And if they choose not to, then good luck to them.
Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. No more murder, no more lies. No more murder, no more lies. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine.
Fashion has started to trend towards like y'all dressing like little kids.
Every single time a woman wears something that is girly or is considered something for a little kid, this is a direct reflection of what the patriarchy does, and will make women seem like they're catering to a certain group of people, but they're not. We put the blame on women for how they dress, but not the blame on the patriarchy and men for looking at women in that way, or seeing the way that they dress is considered to be what little kids wear. And I hate this notion of that women are dressing like little kids, because like, why are we equating a grown woman to a child because of the way that she dresses? Because that she is, I guess, pushing an agenda towards certain type of people, but we're not putting the blame on men, but it's the blame on women. And I feel like we always put the blame on women. It's just fashion. Like, I get it that you think that it looks like a diaper, which I don't. I think bloomers are extremely adorable, but because it's similar to how a diaper would look, you're saying that women are dressing like little kids, which is completely false, instead of changing the narrative that why are looking at women that way.
So, who broke it? I'm not mad. I just want to know.
I did. I broke it.
No, you didn't. Tom?
Don't look at me. Look at Ben.
What? I didn't break it.
Huh, that's weird. How'd you even know it was broken?
Because it's sitting right in front of us and it's broken.
Suspicious.
No, it's not.
If it matters. Probably not, but April was the last one to use it.
Liar, I don't even drink that crap.
Oh, really? Then what were you doing by the coffee cart earlier?
I used the wooden stirrer to push back my cuticles. Everyone knows that, Jerry.
Okay, let's not fight. I broke it. Let me pay for it, Ron.
No. Who broke it?
Ron. Don. has been awfully quiet.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh my God.
Stop treating the community like we're babies without common sense. Even if homophobes, Palestinians are still humans who deserve to live a life without fear. Every member of the community will say this. We know that homophobia is still very popular literally everywhere. We are not dumb.
Did you hear about Taylor Swift releasing like 20 new versions of every song just to spite small artists?
It is really telling that you care when she does it, but not when it's a man.
I've literally never heard of anyone else doing that ever.
Exactly. Because when a man does it, it doesn't make the news.
Okay, either way, it just seems like something a cartoon villain would do.
Oh, so you hate cartoon villains?
What?
You hate Megamind. You hate Ice King. You hate Dr. Doofenshmirtz?
No.
Exactly. Because they're men.
Taylor Swift just took a 45-second flight to get batteries from Target.
Who wouldn't do that, though? Be honest.
I wouldn't.
Come on. If I had a private jet, I'd take it to go to the bathroom to pee.
That makes you a bad person.
No!
You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me? You mean $1 million 5-bedroom suburban home?
Say you don't know what poetry is without saying you don't know what poetry is.
Back up! I like poetry.
It's called a metaphor. Did you skip English class in the 3rd grade, dum-dum? She's not literally saying she was in an asylum. She's saying that the spotlight at such a young age made her feel crazy.
So she's complaining about being rich and famous since she was a kid? That feels really out of touch.
You're lucky you weren't rich and famous as a kid, that you actually got to have a childhood.
I was an orphan working full-time at a meatpacking plant since I was 12.
Exactly. You have no concept of how hard her life was.
As Sonia Massey was apologizing to police, they her in the face. They laughed afterwards and made a comment about, "Oh, left my camera on." Mind you, Sonia Massey called 911 for help. There was someone sneaking around her home. When they got there, one officer pointed out that the pot she had on the stove was boiling. She was probably preparing dinner. She is a mother of 2. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry," went to go tend to the pot, and they aggressively yelled at her to put it down. As she was saying, "Oh, sorry," they her in the face. Don't think because there has been less talk or reporting on police brutality since the summer of 2020 that it somehow lessened or got better. It makes me think of how so many people use this era of renewed racial awakening as a trendy outfit you put on and off. Say her name, Sonia Massey.
Do not sell marijuana to my husband.
Okay.
I mean it.
Part of what makes art special is that it's difficult to make, even with all the tools right in front of you. It takes practice, it takes skill, and every time you do it, you expand on that skill. Every song you hear, every movie you watch is the result of thousands of hours of trial and error. You can fail 1,000,000 times and use that experience to finally succeed. Understand how tempting a shortcut can be, especially when you go online and you see all these other people doing cool things and you're like, man, it would take me like 10 years to learn how to make music like that. Okay, that's fine. What's the rush? Start right now. Just take the first step.
I hate it so much when people are like, oh my God, I was so weird and ugly during the pandemic. I was so strange. No, you were exploring without having to deal with the social implications of being strange or being perceived as strange. Like, yeah, I guess the pandemic is over. So you guys threw away all your black clothes and you threw away all the weird stuff and the weird accessories you were doing and you stopped doing fun, creative eyeliner. That does not mean that you're a better person now. It just feels like now you feel like you have to conform because you're back being around people and you have to deal with the glances and the weird comments and people thinking that you're weird. Like, the pandemic version of you was not like this like creature monster. It was just someone who was exploring, and you have to explore to find like anything new. So stop being mean to yourselves. Jeez.
Hi, Hari, this is what it's like to date a girl who's only ever dated men.
Baby, does this look good? Yeah, it looks good.
Holy shit!
Baby, you need a... Babe, I'm panicking. You're not panicking, but I'm panicking. You need to relax. I mean, you always look good in that. But it's new. Oh. You still look good. How am I supposed to exist? I'm just a little lady. Don't look at me. Look at me, but don't look at me. So can we go, or? I think I need to take a lap.
When I was in elementary school, I thought you capitalized names as a sign of respect, so I always refused to capitalize the name of my 4th grade teacher or George Bush because I did not respect them. You know when guys are like, now that I have a daughter, I care about women's issues? I always wonder what their moms think of that. How do you text a new friend to hang out without sounding like a Democrat asking for money? If you can't afford rent, that's your fault for living in a city. Maybe if you lived in an open field or perhaps some kind of bog. I haven't shaved my legs in a long time, and while I was babysitting, the 7-year-old was like, ew, you should shave, that hair's not supposed to be there. And I said, well, if it's not supposed to be there, then why does it grow there? And he was really silent for a long time and then finally said, let's watch Sonic the Hedgehog. This guy says, tumors grow. Are they supposed to be there? It's called evolution. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's useful or wanted. To which we got, local man compares leg hair to cancer, genuinely thought it was a smart argument. More at 6. The GOP tweeted, it's simple, walls work. And someone overlaid that with a photo of January 6ers happily hopping on over the Capitol wall. And finally, if capitalism didn't already exist and somebody suggested we all work under a guy for 40 hours a week while they make all the money and decisions, we would beat the shit out of them. A reminder about the petition to stop forcing victims of rape to give birth. You've heard of the 13-year-old girl that gave birth after an assault in Mississippi. This is unfortunately happening in a lot of states since Roe was overturned, so you can find this on my page. Thanks in advance for your support.
So my mom bleaches her skin. I'm the darkest in the family. I have been getting told to bleach my skin since I was like 8. She stopped bothering me about it, especially because one time she gave me soap that was supposed to help with my acne, and then it bleached my baby hairs, and I found out it was skin bleaching cream soap. Anyways, I don't think you guys understand how hard-headed that generation is. Like, the later Gen X, early Boomer generation, no. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care at all. That whole black is beautiful thing, yeah, no. They don't care. My mom, to this day, still bleaches her skin. The only thing I can get her to do is wear sunscreen. They are so brainwashed to the point where they just won't hear it.
Overconsumption core, get rid of me for another day in the life, starting with my morning shed. Step 1, remove my mouth tape, my silk eye mask, my clear wrapping mask to stimulate collagen, my face lifting strap to reduce double chin, my silk hair bonnet to stop breakage and split ends. Get dressed with me, starting with my perfectly matched PJs, run to walk. They're available on TikTok Shop. Try on 3 different outfits, and they're all linked to my Amazon storefront. I actually just redid my closet because I got my colors analyzed, and I found out that I'm a bright spring, so the beige just didn't really complement my skincare routine, starting with sunscreen from my favorite brand, because my recently microneedled and tretinoin and lathered skin can't handle the sun. Anti-aging, anti-aging, anti-aging. Isn't it so much fun? And how old do I look? I still look young. Go to a boutique Pilates class because I want to look snatched, and then go grocery shopping. I need all new vitamins because the glow comes from within. Even though I still have that vitamin subscription, they're still coming in monthly, all the boxes piling up. And then chlorophyll water. When's the last time you touched that bottle? Probably not since 2021. A drawer full of old, dried up, half-used face masks, and a hat rack of fuzzy bucket hats. Maybe I could sell them, maybe secondhand, but nobody wants them. To the landfill they go. Oh well, anyway, what's the aesthetic of the month? What's the new hair trend? Cowboy copper? Teddy bear blonde? I need someone to recommend me new products. Lather, rinse, repeat. 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 Repeat.
I mean, American politics are clearly in support of tyranny right now.
Oh my god, they're called trans people. You can't say that word anymore.
So, if you didn't already know, for years now, J.K. Rowling has dedicated her life to attacking trans people on Twitter. Her new targets are Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe, saying that she will never forgive them or accept their apologies. And here is why. A little while ago, Emma posted these on Twitter. I want my trans followers to know that I and so many other people around the world see you, respect you, and love you for who you are.
Having friends who are trans, like, there's so many more important issues.
You feel comfortable with me using, female toilets?
Oh my God, of course.
What would you say to those people who would have an issue sharing?
I would say that's another human being.
And Daniel made a beautiful video where he spoke to a group of trans people.
Hi, I'm Dan Radcliffe. This week I was incredibly fortunate to get to meet 6 young people who agreed to come and share their stories with us.
A lot of the time it's just because people don't know a young trans person, so there's just this like theoretical idea about this in their head. I think the reason there is so much undue consternation about transness and non-binary people is that without realizing that so much of the world hinges on a gender binary. Yeah, I'm excited to share that conversation with you.
Daniel and Emma do not owe anybody an apology for supporting trans people, and I think it's time we send J.K. Rowling to Azkaban where she belongs.
There's insane news coming out of Palestine, and I need you to stay with me so I can explain it. Palestinian groups Fatah and Hamas were in China, and they just brokered a unity deal, which is historic. To give you some context, Hamas is the governing group over Gaza, and they believe in armed resistance. Fatah controls the Palestinian Authority, which has partial admin control over the occupied West Bank. Fatah believes in peace talks, and they don't believe in armed resistance. Hamas and Fatah have been fighting since 2006 when Hamas got elected into governing Gaza. But now Hamas, Fatah, and 12 other groups have signed this unity deal in China. Now there's 4 main elements to this agreement. Number 1, the establishment of a national interim unity government. So no more Hamas versus Fatah versus other faction groups. They all work together. Formation of unified Palestinian leadership ahead of future elections. The free election of a new Palestinian National Council, as well as a general declaration of unity in face of ongoing Israeli attacks. Key part of this agreement is that this could be a turning point for Palestinian internal relations, meaning they all work under one group and they all work on the same goal of taking back Palestinian land. Also very interesting that China was the one that brokered this deal, not Egypt, not Qatar, it was China. I think it's also important for us to follow how China continues to play a role within everything that's happening in the Middle East in relation to Palestine. This is huge news. They've tried to do this multiple times in the past. It did not work. We'll see what happens with this union and how it goes.
Suck my dick. Whatever you've heard about me, times it by 1,000,000, and if you think it's bad, make it worse.
So why was it important for you to come to the protest today?
To continue asserting our support for the Palestinian people, demanding the end to arms being supplied to Israel, and demanding a ceasefire and the ending of the occupation. There's a new government. It hasn't radically changed the policies of the British state. I raised all this morning in Parliament, and I'm here this evening joining, looks like thousands of friends surrounding Parliament, because we've got to keep making these protests, and it does inspire people in Gaza and the West Bank. They tell me that. So they just say, keep doing what you're doing, but never be quiet. And I'm not being quiet.
Political violence is not new. It has always been a cornerstone of America. And the repeated asks for us to unify as a country because a treasonous, fascist, convicted, twice impeached former president / reality TV star was shot at by someone in his own party is laughable. The biggest issue with this unity conversation is that in America, when you're black, brown, a woman, poor, you actually always live in a state of political violence, and no one is ever calling for unity around us. Withholding fresh water from Flint is an act of political violence. Not implementing proper gun control laws when there have been repeated school shootings is an act of political violence. Not abolishing police, in fact, continuing to overfund them despite the fact that they are killing innocent citizens, is an act of political violence. Forcing women to birth children and taking away their reproductive rights is an act of political violence. Introducing 527 anti-LGBTQ bills across the country is an act of political violence. Funding a genocide is an act of political violence. The anger and frustration people feel isn't about some political divide. It's about the fact that this country allows, sanctions, and perpetuates violence against its citizens every day and doesn't care, until that citizen is a rich, white, straight, cisgender male. Political violence is not new. It has always been a cornerstone of America.
You're not autistic. You have superpowers. The superpowers. The power to have a meltdown over almost anything. The ability to miss every social cue. The power to make everyone stare at you in public spaces. The ability to only eat a handful of foods. The power of needing support with everyday tasks. The ability to info dump about special interests for hours. And the power to legally get paid less, lose benefits with marriage, and more. It's called a disability for a reason.
You bitches look up to me. You say you look up to her, but really you look up to me. I can't be playing with niggas, I'm married to G. I got some niggas that do what I say. If I tell them to shoot, they pull up on the 3. No bitches.
Every now and then people ask me if I'd ever consider being a prosecutor again, and the answer is almost always no, but every now and then. Sonia Massey was killed in her own house over a pot of boiling water after she called police officers there for help. See, that Officer Grayson, he was already annoyed when he got there. He'd already made a judgment call on Miss Massey. He told her to hurry up and open the door after he got there. I guess she was taking too long and he didn't like standing outside. When Sonia Massey does come in, she opens the door. She tells the officers that she thought somebody was at her house. She thought there was somebody outside, a perpetrator outside somewhere. They say they searched around the house. There's nobody out there. She says, thank y'all, love y'all. But they don't leave. They continue asking questions, almost as if they're trying to find something wrong. Next thing you know, they're inside the house. They're asking Miss Massey questions. She does seem nervous. There's something happening there. Eventually, they ask her for her ID. She can't find it. The officer says, hey, can you go over there and take care of that boiling pot of water? Something along those lines, right? We don't want a fire in here. At that point, it does seem like everything's fine. He says he's trying to move away from the steaming, boiling pot of water. She says something, and she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. He puts his hand on his weapon immediately. This is a pot of boiling water. He pulls that weapon. I think she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus again. He pulls that weapon, and she ducks. She says, okay, I'm sorry. Those are her last words. Those are her last words. I'm sorry. Shoots her, kills her. As she's on the ground, he says, drop the fucking pot, or whatever he said, something along those lines. Drop the pot of boiling fucking water. She's already unresponsive and deceased on the ground. He tells his partner, don't bother getting your medical kit. She's done. Later on in the video, somebody comes, it looks like a supervisor, and they say, where's the weapon? He says, no weapon. She had a pot of boiling water. As if that weren't bad enough, the officer, after he has killed Sonia Massey, goes outside and refers to her as a crazy fucking bitch, as she lay inside deceased as a result of him shooting and killing her. There's another officer on the scene, and he says, happily, it seems, at least he didn't have to waste his medical kit. More concerned about your medical kit than you are about the life that was just taken. Wouldn't be surprised if charges were coming down for that second officer as well. Grayson, the officer that killed Sonia Massey, has been charged with murder along with a slew of other charges. If convicted, he will certainly spend the rest of his life in prison, but that's of little comfort. Sonia Massey's gone.